verses 19 and 20. The woman said, "Sir, I perceive you're a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, but you say that Jerusalem is the place that our people ought to worship." Well, now we know this woman's name. It's Captain Obvious, right? "Sir, I perceive that you're a prophet." Is that the most no-duh statement of all time, the most massive understatement in the world? That she recognizes Jesus knows things he shouldn't be able to know? And then what does she do? Like any good person caught at something they don't want to talk about, she changes the conversation direction. And she says, "I get that you're a prophet. Let's talk about this 1,000-year-old debate about where people should be able to worship and where they shouldn't. Let's talk about where this comes from, where her conversation, her question comes from." Somewhere back right after the time of Solomon, around 950 BC, the northern and the southern areas of Israel split. 10 tribes of the north, 2 tribes in the south. They got their own kings and they went to war against each other. And so in Jerusalem is where the temple was, way back from when Solomon built this, like I said, around 950. And God said, this is the only place you can worship. Worship being ritual sacrifice, not singing or studying of the word, that kind of thing. That was done in the synagogues, wherever the synagogues were. But the only place to offer your ritual worship, your sacrifice, was to do it in the temple in Jerusalem. Well, then the 10 tribes split up north, and we learn this from the book of 1 Kings. One of Solomon's military leaders, Jeroboam, made himself the king of the north and sinned against God. Let's take a deep look at this passage in 1 Kings because it's going to give us the context to the conversation this woman's trying to have now with Jesus and Jesus' reply. 1 Kings 12, 25 through 31 in the New Living Testament. Jeroboam then built up the city of Shechem in the hill country of Ephraim, and it became his capital. Later, he went and built the town of Peniel. Jeroboam thought to himself, unless I'm careful, the kingdom will return to the dynasty of David. When these people go to Jerusalem to offer sacrifices at the temple of the Lord, they will again give their allegiance to King Rehoboam of Judah, and they will kill me and make him their king instead. So on the advice of his counselors, the king made 2 gold calves. He said to his people, "It's too much trouble for you to worship in Jerusalem. Look, Israel, these are the gods who brought you out of Egypt." And he placed these calf idols in Bethel and in Dan at either end of the northern kingdom. But this became a great sin, for the people worshiped the idols, traveling as far north as Dan to worship the one there. Jeroboam also erected buildings at the pagan shrines and ordained priests from the common people, those who were not of the priestly tribe of Levi. So here's how it works. Jeroboam rebels, names himself the king over the 10 northern tribes, and knows that when people go to offer their sacrifices to the Lord, they're going to come back, he's going to lose his seat, he'll get killed, and then everybody will fall under the reign of Judah and become part of Judah again. He doesn't want that, so he sets up the high places, is what it's called in the Old Testament, and encourages people to worship false gods there. And that's what's happened all through time now until Jesus' day, almost 1,000 years later.